top 5 guppy foods that give this species their beautiful coloration and lively energy. I love looking at guppies every time I go into a local fish store or my own fish room. We're going to discover my top 5 guppy foods. Thank you for watching the River Life YouTube channel. Please give this video a like, and if you've not subscribed to the River Life YouTube channel yet, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. While you're down there, hit that notification bell so you'll know when we upload new content. Let's get started with number 5, Tetra Color Extra Large Granules. I like the extra large size because it allows the guppies to nibble, and what makes it all the way to the bottom can then help color up my bottom feeders as well. We're going to start in the male guppy tank and notice that they are a little skittish and they're not voracious feeders, but they do enjoy nibbling at this food, and they're always excited whenever a food hits the surface of the water. Moving over to the female guppy tank, we're going to see quite a difference in appetite and activity. These girls are ready to eat some color-enhancing Tetra Color Extra Large Tropical Granules. Now they'll nibble at it as it falls through the water column. Some of the granule makes it to the bottom for my cleanup crew down there as well. Moving on to number 4 of the top 5 guppy foods, New Life Spectrum Tropical Fish Regular Pellets. My fish love this food, and I love the natural ingredients included in this food. We'll start over here in the male guppy tank. Again, remembering the males are a little more skittish, even with lots of vegetation cover. Man, look at that Aponogeton growing in there. Things actually bloomed. Here they go. They're discovering there's some food on the surface of the water. They're getting a little excited, gathering around, tasting the food. They'll hit it on the surface several times, and then as it begins to fall, they lose a little interest. The cleanup crew on the bottom don't mind at all. They also love this food. Moving on to the female guppy tank with the New Life Spectrum food, we're again going to see a little more voracious appetite from these girls, and they're going to hit the food from the surface all the way to the lower middle water column. Then once it gets so close to the bottom, they just kind of go back to the surface and look for more food. And again, the cleanup crew is just all excited about that. The loaches in this tank also have learned that they can also eat off the surface instead of eating guppy leftovers. Number 3 is quite a surprise. The Aqueon Beta Treat. This is a dehydrated bloodworm, 100% natural ingredient. I like to rehydrate these guys a little bit before I introduce them as food. And we're going to have a similar story here between the genders. The males are going to hit this food and enjoy it, but they're not going to consume it voraciously like the females. Offering it in tongs is a little off-putting to these guys, so they approach with caution and nibble lightly. I will tell you that left floating on the surface, I can hear the snaps of the guppies' mouths on the water when I walk away. Offering this food in a similar manner to the female tank, we see a similar response at first. They don't seem to like the tongs in the water. They know that there's some food that's been introduced to the tank. It's not on the surface. They maybe can smell it. Those silver tongs are just too artificial. They're not accustomed to that, and they're not feeding from the tong. It's a different story altogether when I release the dehydrated bloodworm on the surface of the water, and this is why I enjoy feeding this food so much, because I'm literally hand feeding my guppies. Number 2 is Extreme Aquatic Foods Community Peewee Professional Formula. This is also a complete food with lots of fantastic ingredients, also a color enhancer. The male guppies seem to enjoy nibbling on this one a little more than the other pellet foods. As you can see, they're having a blast with this extreme food. I think I can sense a little more excitement, a little more activity from the male guppies when I feed this particular food. What are your thoughts? Oh, that's a nice coy male guppy right there. Not surprising, the female guppies also enjoy the Extreme Aquatic Foods pellets, and you'll notice the yo-yo loaches coming from off the bottom to the surface to make sure they get a complete pellet or two before the guppies nibble it down to leftovers. And now moving on to the number 1 fish food that I like to feed my guppies, and that is the Hikari Fancy Guppy, ideal for live bearers, semi-floating, protein-rich granule. This food has kind of a micro coating on it, and it's a very tiny little food that the fish love to nibble on from the surface of the water. Every fish is going to be sure to get a serving because it's so fine and spreads out so quickly on the surface of the water. The larger and faster fish can't consume all of it before the less aggressive and smaller fish have also had a chance to eat it. Both the male guppies and the female guppies go nuts when this food hits the top of the water. Look at these guys just crawling over the top of each other to get another mouthful of this delicious fancy guppy food by Hikari. All of these guppies were born as fry in my tanks. All of these guppies have been raised in my tank and fed these foods by me. So they're accustomed to these foods, and the reaction you saw is typical of what it has been for their entire lives. I'm going to continue to feed these guppies these 5 foods as we move forward with some breeding projects. And now here's a quick rundown of each of the foods we talked about, starting with number 1, the Hikari Fancy Guppy Food. It is ideal for live bearers, they say. A soft granule that's ideal for all sizes of smallmouth fish. Protein-packed formula. It supports the nutritional demands of repeated reproduction. It is a semi-floating, protein-rich granule style. The main ingredients include fish meal, krill meal, dried fish oil, seaweed. They recommend feeding 2 to 3 times daily, the amount your fish will completely consume in a few minutes. Care should be taken to avoid overfeeding. The micro coating eliminates nutrient leaching and water clouding, so that's a benefit of this food. Uniquely formulated diet for all types of live bearers, especially guppies, platies, swordtail, and mollies. I don't have a problem making this my favorite food. It is a semi-floating, tiny little piece of food packed with nutrients that all the fish can enjoy, not just the aggressive ones. It's going to stay number 1 in my fish room. Number 2, Extreme Aquatic Foods Community Peewee-sized Professional Formula. The main ingredients of this food include shrimp meal, menhaden fish meal, herring meal, squid meal, spirulina, and several others. Extreme claims it took a multi-award-winning breeder, a successful tropical fish farm, and over 35 years of continuing improvements to develop the Extreme Aquatic Foods. It's the highest quality marine and vegetable proteins, producing a balanced, natural color while promoting healthy growth, strong immune system, and active breeding. Eagerly consumed in a slow sinking pellet, hormone free. Feeding instructions are feed 2 to 3 times daily, an amount that will be eaten by your fish in 2 to 3 minutes, based out of Melbourne, Florida. The Aqueon Beta Treat Dehydrated Bloodworms, Natural Colors and Ingredients. Aqueon says the Beta Treat bloodworms can provide added mealtime variety for betta and other tropical fish, a highly nutritious source of protein. Bloodworms can be fed as a treat or part of the daily diet. The breakdown on the analysis of the dehydrated bloodworms listed are minimum 50% crude protein, minimum 5% crude fat, maximum 6% crude fiber, and maximum 12% moisture. The only ingredient listed is dehydrated bloodworms. They do have an allergen warning. This product contains a natural ingredient that some people may have an allergic reaction to. You notice I was handling it with tongs and not my bare hands. Number 4. New Life Spectrum Tropical Fish Natural Color Enhancing Pellets with a guaranteed analysis of 37% protein and main ingredients including whole Antarctic krill, giant squid, whole menhaden fish, ulva seaweed, chlorella seaweed, wakame seaweed, kelp, garlic, ginger, spirulina, omega-3 fish oil, marigold, amongst others. Feeding instructions say feed 2 times daily. Food should be eaten in 1 minute or less. Do not overfeed. The pellet size is 1 millimeter to 1.5 millimeter. Buoyancy is described as high density. Most pellets will sink. For best results, feed Spectrum exclusively, they say. I'm not sure if I agree with that, but I understand why they would say something like that. Easy to digest whole Antarctic krill, squid, and marine veggies without soybean products. No hormone additives. So this is a quality food. It is an enhanced formula, and the fish do go after it with a lot of vigor. Number 5. What I've considered a staple for some time in my fish room, the Tetra Color Extra Large Tropical Granules. It is a complete diet, slow sinking, and it does enhance color. Clean and clear water formula. It contains antioxidants, select proteins, and prebiotics, which help with digestion and less waste. Minimum protein is 47.5%, minimum fat 6.5%. A few of the main ingredients include fish meal, shrimp meal, and dried fish protein digest. I personally believe there's a benefit to a varied diet so long as your fish are consuming the food that you're feeding, they're digesting it easily and passing it well. I do find benefits to a varied diet. There is lots of discussion in the fish keeping hobby right now concerning artificial color enhancement, and the color enhancement we've mentioned in this video is 100% complete natural color enhancement. Regardless of what you feed your fish, you're going to influence the colors and how they show on the fish. The fish foods that I like to feed include natural color enhancement. You make your own decision. I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm just telling you how I feed my fish, why I feed the food that I do, and the benefits that I receive. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, and if you're not a subscriber to the River Life YouTube channel, please consider hitting the subscribe button. Go ahead and ring the notification bell if you'd like to be notified when we upload new content. Thanks for watching this one, and until the next one, why don't you get out there and see it, love it, and live it.